Welcome to the Family Banking Show with your hosts Rob, Derek, and John, where we dive into the world of the infinite banking concept and discuss personal banking strategies to secure your legacy and build generational wealth. We're glad you're here, and we hope this episode serves you well.
If you're interested in learning more about setting up your own family banking system, send an email to thefamilybankingshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Family Banking Show. We are your hosts, Derek, Rob, and John. Guys, how are you doing this week?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Was doing well, and I thought it's April, should be warm, should be great outside. I know we always talk about weather, but what in the world? It was snowing yesterday. It was April 2nd, and it's pretty demoralizing, honestly. I'm trying to keep positivity going, but snow on April 2nd, that's definitely a record for me. I'm still new to Minnesota. What's the record for you, Rob?
And snowing hard. The record for me is May. May, like the second weekend in May. And the reason why I remember that vividly is because my wife and I were engaged, and we just got engaged, and we were thinking about we we're picking this mid-May, and that very year there's like a blizzard in mid-May, and we are like, nope. So we moved it out to the end of May. But that was it can get Minnesota, man.
Right around Mother's Day is probably the worst that I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, that's middle May, like you're talking about, Rob. I used to work at a restaurant and I was a server there, and I can remember one Mother's Day, just a wintry mix, just slushy, nasty. You don't want to go outside. You don't even want to look out the window. It's that bad. So, if you're not from Minnesota, or at least from the north, hearing April 1st or April 2nd getting snow, people are just like, what? Trees
John,
and flowers are blooming in other places of the world, but not here.
Yeah, John, you'd have thought it was April Fool's, but it was actually April 2nd. So you're like, no, this is real.
I've been running a lot lately I'm training for this marathon, and doing, like, yesterday was a 9-mile run, and doing 9 miles on a treadmill because it's snowing outside and it was outside.
That's hard.
It's just a mental battle. Like not even much the running part, but just like staying on a treadmill for that long is pretty brutal. So ready for it to be nice out and appreciate it, I guess, a lot more. But man, it's kind of tough.
All right. Well, I'm not a runner, so
Yeah.
not for me, but I'm glad that you enjoy it, John. All right, guys, for this week's episode, we're talking about how to explain infinite banking to your family and friends. A lot of people will, if you just say, hey, I'm practicing infinite banking, you're going to get a lot of side-eyed looks and, what's that? How do our listeners explain it to their family and friends in 60 seconds or less? Rob, before we started hit recording, you mentioned something kind of an interesting side note. Each person is going to have a different way of describing infinite banking. There's going to be a different attribute that appeals to you more than it's going to appeal to somebody else. And you're going to hear that from each of us three, something slightly different, a way of describing infinite banking. Some of us are going to be more technical. Some of us are going to be more visionary, if you will. And so what we would encourage our listeners is see what works for you. If you're passionate about infinite banking and you want to explain this to your family and friends, then you're going to have your own different spin on things. There's no necessarily right or wrong way to do it. Just find what fits you the best. So Rob, why don't you go ahead and hit us off? What are you thinking if somebody asks you, what is infinite banking? How do you explain it in 60 seconds or less?
Yeah, the reason why that the thought came to me is I was invited to a dinner this week, and one of the guys that I'm working with is a client, and he said he's like, hey, I've been kind of telling guys at work about this, and they'll probably ask you some questions, and it just made me think, like, okay, so if I'm sitting at the dinner table, how do I just say it? Like, because infinite banking is such a broad concept, and like Derek, like you said, there's like aspects of it that resonate with different people for different reasons. But the cool thing is all of those are valid. That's the cool thing, is like you look at all the reasons why early cash value, whole life insurance, the infinite banking process, why that's such a powerful financial tool and a process is it has so many facets that are beneficial. And but I was like, how can I to just people who don't really know what it is, how can I just explain it really simply? And what I was thinking about, and it just boiled down to me is, and maybe this is just I'm just trying to boil it down to the basics, like at the very basics, like why would a person choose to put $1 into an early cash value whole life insurance policy versus a high yield savings account? Because that's what early cash value whole life insurance and infinite banking policy is. It's closely associated to a cash asset like a savings account. And so if you had one extra dollar, and you had a decision of where do I want to put it, a savings account or this weird thing that someone's telling me about, infinite banking, early cash value, whole life. Why would I put it there? And the reason is when I boiled it down is you get as for that $1, you get just as good. And in the illustrations I'm running, the projections I'm running, you get way better internal rate of return than a savings account, even a high yield savings account. So A, you're getting a better return on your dollar, and then you're getting a death benefit to protect your family. And then you're getting cash value that you can borrow against for opportunities, large purchases, emergencies. And then you're getting uninterrupted compound growth because when you borrow against your cash value, you're not affecting the growth of the cash like you would if you take that dollar out of your savings account, you've just broken the growth of the dollar. And so, and it's this ever compounding death benefit that keeps getting better every year, and this ever compounding cash value that keeps getting better every year. It's like if you had $1 and you had a decision of where do you want to put it, when I just like really boiled it all down, and if you don't need the liquidity immediately, that's like the other key. So if you have $1 and you know that you need that $1 a month from now, put it into a savings account. If you have that $1 and you know that you need maybe 75 cents of it a month from now, put it into, early cash value whole life insurance policy. And so it just really boiled down to if I have $1, where's the smartest place to put it that gives me all these benefits for the same dollar? And that to me it seemed like a way that would just not be salesy. It's just reality. Like why wouldn't you do that? And that's always what it kind of boiled down for me.
Yeah. So when I said the more technical, nuanced version of IBC, that's Rob's answer,
Yeah,
which
that's
is great.
true.
And it resonates with some people who are maybe a little bit more mathematically oriented.
Dorky engineers like me.
Yeah,
Yep.
you see the engineering wheels spinning for Rob, which is
Yep.
great. I'm going to give kind of more of hopefully the more visionary approach. And it's as simple as this. If you were starting your life over, what would $100,000 mean to you?
Hmm.
If you had some chunk of change rather than starting from zero, what would you be able to accomplish with that? And so what I'm doing is I'm storing, protecting, and growing not only my wealth, but I'm also jumpstarting the next generation.
Hmm.
And ideally, this lasts for many, many generations. So every dollar that we would spend, whether it's for financing needs, if we're going to purchase a piece of real estate, that all those dollars stay inside our family bank instead of paying the banker down the street. It makes
Yeah.
our family wealthier over time.
Boom.
John, what are your guys' thoughts on that approach? And then John, what's your answer to the question of what is IBC in 60 seconds?
To your approach, Derek, I'd just say that's uh, for anybody who just started their IBC journey and you're thinking about how to describe it to others, like the way Derek approaches it, and Rob, like it's how it influences the way you think about life, not just money, but life. Like
Hmm.
Derek sees how his life would be probably so much different if your parents and grandparents had started this system for you
Yeah.
to create and build opportunities. So, and then Rob, you're seeing like the tangible day to day, practical benefits. And in general, this is the infinite banking concept where there are infinite types of applications, use cases, and opportunities that you use it for. So, yeah, I mean, for both of y'all's little 60-second pitch, it's just how it like applies to you and how it's changed you,
Yep.
just sharing faith or sharing about anything that you're passionate about. And so mine, I generally say kind of pretty quickly, I say that infinite banking is the process where you can create and control your own personal banking system. And banking at its core is you store your dollars and you finance the things of life. The best place to do both is through a properly structured, optimally funded whole life insurance policy. That's all I say. And there are tons of kind of carryover effects like the generational wealth, Derek, like the opportunities that you're able to take advantage of. As we all know, opportunity finds capital.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that has totally changed all of our lives. So many people who are practicing on the day-to-day basis. And so really we just encourage you to share how it's changed what you do. I remember when I first discovered it, I was telling my family, my friends, everybody, just like how incredible this was. And yet still to this day, fast forward a couple of years even, I still come, sometimes like change the way I share about it because it's changing how it's applying to my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's the same for y'all. And it's just kind of a moving target, which there's no, I guess there are wrong ways to do it, but when shared correctly and accurately, how you apply that, I think there is no wrong way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just that's what I love about it. There's the short-term, immediate, practical benefits you get, but then you're setting up all these generational benefits. That's what, like, I don't know, I think I'm speaking for all of us though. Like eventually when all those pieces finally click into your mind that this one product that nobody has ever heard about and it doesn't make any money for the world banking system, so they intentionally don't tell you about it. And when you realize all the benefits you get from this one simple product that's been around forever, and then you can leverage that to do the infinite banking process, and then you see how then it can benefit your family generationally, it and you can use it right now. It's just that's like that's when you get so excited and you start to tell everybody in your family, like, holy cow, have you heard of this thing? And they all look at you like you got three heads and like, no, this is real. It's amazing. I'm doing it. It's so that just kind of like made me think of this might be a fun topic to talk about because it impacts us all differently, especially like you said, John, as we're going through life. Oh, that first, car purchase for, or something that you could finance yourself, or that house you can now leverage the down payment for, or like or a wedding, your daughter's wedding. Now you can just take a policy loan to pay, it will then you can start to see the generational impact and but the immediate value it brings in terms of protecting your family and leveraging the cash value, borrowing against the cash value for the things of life. It really, once it all, when all those tumblers click into place, that's when the excitement kicks in for us, infinite banking nerds. And so why we want to share it with people.
Yeah. I was recently reminded within the last week or two of my grandparents and how, they had at least some hopes or aspirations of helping out their grandkids financially. And so they purchased, I think it was savings bonds. Um, and, they take a long time to mature before you can kind of really cash them in, if you will. And so, that was a 20+ year plan for each one of us. And on every birthday, they'd go and purchase one of these savings bonds for us grandkids. And so in that way, they're helping us so that
Yeah.
we're not starting out from zero. But the interesting thing is if they would have, instead of doing the savings bonds, which is what they thought was best at that time, so can't fault them for it. But if they would have done something else, like we've talked about here with the properly structured whole life insurance plans, if they would have gotten an insurance policy on each one of us, it would have compounded and grown much greater without, of course, any of the tax drawbacks of it.
Right.
The fact that it's growing tax deferred and can be accessed tax free, and having that immediate protection for generations to come. So, yeah, I like that, Rob, where it's all of the future goals that you want to accomplish for you and your family, but without any of the immediate drawbacks.
Right. Right.
And I'll just add, if you are brave and passionate and you are sharing infinite banking with those you care about because you want them to succeed in the same way that you are, and it lands on deaf ears, or it even results in conflict. And, the Dave Ramseys of the world and all those who are passionately opposed to it, I would say you can direct them to us.
Mhm.
Who do this for a living and talk about it and breathe it every single day. Um, but at some points, there's what we've been told is called kind of the Uncle Bob syndrome, where just
Mhm.
somebody's very stuck in their ways, very, dogmatic about opposing, say, whole life insurance, for example. And that's okay. Like the goal is not to just convince and drag everybody into what we're doing. Like those who love infinite banking caught it, right? And
Mhm.
it wasn't something that they were dragged into. Like as soon as I learned it, it immediately stuck, and I caught it, and it became a passion. And I'm
Yep.
sure everybody has their story of when they caught it. It's not when you were dragged into it, not when you were convinced by like, sophistication and argument. It's just a matter of understanding the problem and how this applies to your life. So don't be
Yep.
discouraged, like if it doesn't land perfectly on everybody's ears, because um, it's not something that everybody, unfortunately, is going to just immediately pick up and just want to just dive right in. It's a process, and it's something that's caught, not taught, and certainly
Right.
not dragged into.
Right.
Any other ideas or comments here, guys, before we end this week's quick episode?
Well, I'll just say
Dude,
it's fun. I enjoyed this episode because it's just talking about how infinite banking is working in our lives, how each one of us sees it and applies it. And I think, I think it resonates with me too. You're trying to share it with people and they just think they don't know what you're talking about. Like it's kind of fascinating to me how it's just been a product that has been vilified for so long, and one person's understanding is based on another person's misunderstanding. People don't truly know what it is, and they just think they do based on what someone else had said or what some entertainer said, a financial entertainer said, for his own purposes. So but it's fun to see how each one of us distills it in a message that we can share with our friends and family, and yeah, it's it's amazing product. It's just hard to get people to the light bulb to get off, and so that's why I thought it'd be fun for us to kind of just say where does it land for each one of us, and might resonate with our listeners.
And on that note, if you have a different way of explaining infinite banking to your family and friends, we'd love to hear about it. If you wouldn't mind commenting, if you're watching us on YouTube, or send us an email at thefamilybankingshow@gmail.com, and we would greatly appreciate your feedback and your support along the way, as we've approaching now, I think, 1 year worth of content for our listeners. So it's exciting for us. We've got many more episodes planned ahead. We hope you stick with us and join us for this journey. All right, guys, we'll see you in next week's episode.
See you guys.
Thank you for joining us. If you're interested in a conversation about anything we've discussed, you can find our contact information in the show notes below.
And subscribe, follow, and leave a review to help spread this message and to help families across the country discover the generational blessing of IBC. May God bless you, and we'll see you next time.